Are you looking for the best processors for gaming? In this video we will look at some of the 5 best processors for gaming on the market. Before we get started with our video, we have included links in the description. So make sure you check those out to see which one is in your budget range. Starting at number 1, Intel Core i5-13600K. You don't need to spend a lot of money on a processor for gaming, and Intel's Core i5-13600K is proof of that. It's the best Intel CPU you can buy right now, sporting 14 cores, 6P plus AT, and 20 threads, with a boost clock that hits as high as 5.1 GHz. It's not the fastest Intel CPU, or even quite the fastest for gaming. However, it's so much more affordable than the 1370K and 1390K, and yet offers very comparable gaming performance, especially at resolutions above 1080p, that it delivers much more value for the money. It dominates the AMD competition. 2. It is far faster for gaming than the Ryzen 5 7600X and goes toe-to-toe with the more expensive 7700X, even exceeding it if you overclock it. While you'll get your best performance with the 1360K using DDR5 memory, you don't have to. Running it on a more affordable motherboard with DDR4 memory can make upgrading to the 1360K much cheaper than the alternatives, leaving you plenty of room for upgrading your CPU and memory in the future. However, you won't be able to move up to 14th gen chips in the future, as Intel is moving to a new socket design with the next generation. Number 2, AMD Ryzen 5 7600. AMD's Ryzen 5 7600 is the baby of the new generation, lacking the high core counts of its bigger siblings and the clock speed of its X counterparts, but that doesn't mean it's not a great CPU. In fact, it punches well above its weight, offering comparable performance to the 7600X at its default settings, and it's almost identical once you enable Precision Boost Overdrive. Despite running at a lower power draw, AMD hasn't done an affordable, overclockable CPU like this for a few generations, but it's returned to its roots with a great option for anyone looking to build a new AM5 system without paying sky-high prices. Motherboards and DDR5 memory still aren't cheap, but this platform will be supported for years to come, so you shouldn't need to upgrade anything for several generations of processors. Number 3, Intel Core i9-13900K. You don't need more than the Core i5-13600K for gaming, but the Core i9-13900K is a true enthusiast class processor. It comes with 24 cores, 8 performance and 16 efficient, and it can hit a staggering 5.8 GHz. In a straight shootout with any other CPU, it's the fastest. So if you need flagship performance, there isn't any other chip worth considering. There are some caveats, however. For starters, most other top CPUs are almost as good, especially in games where GPU power is more important. You also need a very powerful cooler, as even 360mm all-in-ones have proved unable to keep this chip cool enough to prevent thermal throttling. That's because it uses a lot of power, over 300 watts in some cases. You'll need to make sure your power supply is up to the task. Number 4, Intel Core i3-12100F. The Core i3-12100F is an unassuming quad-core processor, but it's hard to expect more for around $100. It's not as powerful as the Ryzen 5 and Core i5 options, but it's not far behind, especially considering how much less it costs. Unlike Intel's other 12th generation offerings, it ditches the efficient cores for 4 performance cores. Overall, it's about 10% slower than the Core i5-12600K, but it depends on the game. In some titles, it's just as fast. Many games don't need more than 4 cores, especially when those cores can hit 4.3 GHz. Because of that, many older games run great on the Core i3-12100F. Newer titles, like Horizon Zero Dawn and Red Dead Redemption. Number 5. Ryzen 9 7950X. AMD's 7950X goes back and forth with Intel's top CPUs when it comes to gaming performance, and there's a tussle when it comes to streaming performance. But for gaming and streaming, we lean towards AMD's flagship CPU. This 16-core, 32-thread processor is the most high-speed performance cores of any modern CPU, making scheduling far easier whether you're on Windows 10 or Windows 11, and that means you get more consistent performance across a wider range of applications. The 7950X is also a monstrously powerful CPU in its own right, whether you're gaming or streaming, or both. It offers heaps of cache and a near 6 GHz clock speed. It is pricey, and you'll need to factor in the cost of a high-end motherboard and DDR5, but if you want a powerful machine for gaming and streaming, there's nothing quite like AMD's 7950X. Recent price cuts have made it far more